Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What if I told you the Blue Jays just got handed the perfect opportunity on a silver platter? While everyone's distracted by the big names, there's a move brewing that could change everything for Toronto's lineup, and it's flying completely under the radar. So the Seattle Mariners just pulled the trigger on Brendan Donovan, and I know what you're thinking. Another team swoops in and grabs a player the Jays needed, right? Wrong. This is actually the best thing that could have happened to Toronto, because it confirms what we've been waiting for. The Cardinals aren't just testing the waters anymore. They're officially tearing it down, and there's a specific player still sitting there that fits this roster like a glove. Alec Burleson. Remember that name? Because he's exactly what the Blue Jays need right now, and hardly anyone's talking about him. The Cardinals just showed their hand by moving Donovan, and according to multiple reports, they're willing to listen on pretty much everyone. Burleson's been sitting there this whole time, a left-handed bat who can play first base in the outfield, someone who posted an 802 ops last year with 18 home runs. He's only 27 years old, and he hits the ball incredibly hard. Think about what this lineup desperately needs. They need a lefty who can actually do some damage. They need someone versatile who can move around defensively. They need depth at first base to give Vladdy some rest or move him to DH on certain days. Burleson checks every single one of those boxes. The guy won a Silver Slugger last year, and here's something most people don't realize. He doesn't strike out much at all. His contact rates are actually pretty solid when you dig into the numbers. Now let's talk about fit, because this is where it gets interesting. John Schneider loves to play matchups, loves to have options. Imagine having Burleson available against right-handed pitching. You could slot him in left field, put Springer in center, or move guys around, keep Vladimir at first, or shift him to DH depending on the day. Against righties, you could run out Burleson, Barger, and Vladdy, 3 lefties in your lineup mixed with your switch hitters. That's the kind of lineup flexibility that wins games in October. The defense isn't elite, I'll give you that. His outfield metrics aren't great, but he's got a strong arm. And honestly, with Dalton Varsho in center, you can hide some of those weaknesses. Plus, first base is his primary position now anyway. He made that transition last year, and while the defensive numbers at first aren't spectacular, it's not like you need Gold Glove caliber play there. You need someone who can handle the position and rake at the plate. Here's what really excites me, though. Look at his batted ball data. The guy pulls the ball with authority, especially to the outfield. Roger Center's dimensions could play perfectly for him. And when you look at some of his underlying metrics, there's room for improvement. His barrel rates are average or slightly below. His expected stats suggest he might have gotten a bit unlucky. Get him working with Dave Popkins and the hitting development staff in Toronto. Maybe you unlock an 850, 900 OPS hitter. That's not crazy to think about given his profile. The cost is the other factor here. Donovan just went for 2 competitive balanced picks and prospects. Burleson should be cheaper than that because Donovan's the better defender, more versatile, had better overall numbers in previous years. But Burleson's not going to be a throw-in either. The Cardinals are going to want real prospects back. The question is whether Ross Atkins is willing to part with mid-level guys from the farm system to add this piece without touching the premium prospects like the top arms or position players they're trying to protect. This feels like the exact type of move the Jays should be making right now. They didn't want to overpay for Donovan, which honestly makes sense given their internal options and flexibility. But Burleson represents better value, a guy who fits a specific need without completely breaking the bank prospect-wise. You're adding a legitimate middle-of-the-order bat who gives you options every single day. And timing matters here. The Cardinals just signaled they're open for business. Other teams are going to start circling. The Jays need to act before someone else realizes what's sitting there. This isn't about making the biggest splash or landing the household name. It's about identifying the right fit at the right price and pulling the trigger before the opportunity disappears. The versatility angle can't be overstated either. Modern baseball is all about maximizing matchups and having depth across multiple positions. Burleson gives you that. He's not locked into one spot. You're not forced to play him every day if the matchup's not right. But when it is right, you've got a legitimate weapon. That's exactly the type of roster construction that wins divisions. Speaking of winning, MLB just released updated projections, and the Jays are favorites for the AL East. BetMGM dropped their Rookie of the Year odds with Trey Savage at plus 300 and Kazuma Okamoto right there at plus 450. If both those guys perform, and you add someone like Burleson to support them, This lineup starts looking really dangerous really fast. One last thing to keep an eye on. Jake Bloss might be heading to the 60-day injured list once spring training starts. UCL surgery back in May, and the front office has to decide whether to keep him in the minors or place him on the Major League IL, which would mean giving up service time. It's a balancing act that could impact roster construction down the line. But bottom line, the Cardinals are selling, Burleson's available, and the fit is perfect. The Jays need to make this happen before someone else does.